Hi, hello. Okay, so I got tons of questions in. You guys asked such great questions this week. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. My name is Heather Rodriguez. If you're new to my lives, I'm a natural fertility specialist, herbalist, nutritionist, and I help to empower women to have tools for their health. So, all right. First question, any benefits of collagen on fertility? Not directly that I know of. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Not directly that I know of. I know of a lot of benefits for collagen for digestion, for skin, those types of things, but not directly as it pertains to fertility. And if you guys have any questions, you can go ahead and put them in the comments, and then I will be answering them if I can in this type of format. I hope you guys are doing good. There's a blizzard outside right now, so it's quite beautiful. Foods to include in case of low progesterone. So, okay. So when it comes to progesterone, there's a lot of different reasons that progesterone can be low. So it's not always dietary related. In a roundabout way, diet has a lot to do with hormone production, but as it pertains directly to progesterone, there's not a direct link. So I can't just say, okay, eat more avocados and your progesterone will go up. Generally, progesterone is being produced after a cascade of events that are happening. So ovulation has to occur for progesterone to increase. Progesterone can also be low if estrogen is in excess. So there's a lot more that goes into there being low progesterone than just missing certain nutrients or foods. If anything, I'd say to increase fiber to help with hormone and estrogen metabolism, but there's no specific food to increase progesterone. I mean, a healthy diet full of nuts, seeds, whole foods, healthy fats, those types of things are always going to be important. Foods to avoid after ovulation. Nope, I wouldn't say there's any foods to avoid after ovulation as long as they're just the healthy foods that you're eating to help with your overall fertility diet and health. I wouldn't think that there's any specific foods to avoid. Sorry, my dog is being so loud with his bone. Hey, Santos. Hey, stop. He's going to be loud this whole time. How do you know when you're ovulating when taking your basal body temperature? Great question. So for what basal body temperature means is, just a second, I'm going to let my dog out. He's like, come here. Come here. All right. He is so loud. Okay, so what basal body temperature means is you're taking your temperature every day at the same time. So I call this fertility charting, where you take your temperature, you put it on a chart, and the pattern, once you have a whole cycle or multiple cycles, the patterns will tell you a lot about your fertility health, your hormonal health, and so forth. So one of the things you can tell from fertility charting is if you've ovulated or not. A lot of people will take OPK tests and think that because the OPK test is positive that they're ovulating, and that's not accurate. OPK tests show us our fertile times. They do not confirm ovulation has occurred. The only way to do that at home, for the most part, is taking your temperature, charting, and you're looking for a drop and then a rise. And the rise will continue to go as your progesterone starts to be released and continues to increase. So that's how you can tell. If you want to learn more, go to fertilityfriend.com. You can look at specific charts. You can look at charts where people have ovulated. You can look at charts where people aren't ovulating, and just kind of, if you're charting, to know what to look for. A lot of those apps will also help you confirm ovulation because of temperatures. Does applying heat with castor oil pack negatively affect follicle growth during follicular phase? No, there's the amount of heat that's in a heat pack or a hot water bottle is not going to be hot enough to cause that type of damage or that type of effect. Any tip or supplement to help with lowering FSH? So when it comes to FSH, there's a whole approach that happens. There's not a specific supplement for that. There are a handful of things that can be done. I focus on the 5 pillars of fertility. If you're new to that, I have a whole class that I did on it that goes into great detail. But basically, we're focusing on 5 different aspects of fertility and making sure that all of those are being included in your plan. They are cleansing, nourishing, protection, balancing, and self-care. But I have a whole class. You can reach out for that, so you can watch that. What's the most important? Hey, Mimi, what's the most important personal care products to ditch and switch for hormone balance? So in order of importance is going to be the items that you use in the laundry room. So laundry detergents, dryer sheets, stain sticks, those types of things, because you're going to be having them on your skin. You're also going to be inhaling in the air. So it's just multiple exposure. I think the next is going to be definitely getting rid of candles. There's studies showing that candles burning for 2 hours is equivalent to air pollution as much as a pack of cigarettes, which is absolutely incredible to me. And then it's going to be home care products, so things that you clean your house with, and then personal care after that. But it's kind of hard to put them in order because it's the micro exposures every day over time that's affecting you. So ditching and switching as much as you can as soon as possible is actually what's ideal. But those are the orders. How and when should you use castor oil packs? So castor oil packs, if you're actively trying to conceive, castor oil packs are best done before ovulation. And then like after your period, so there's a period of like a week or two that you can do them. I don't like to do them when you're after ovulation, if you're actively trying to conceive, just because that's a time that I want everything to be calm, not necessarily increasing circulation, just a really receptive mode. And then also if you're pregnant, we don't want to be increasing the energy as much as we are in helping the body to balance out. What are things that you can naturally do to improve thyroid function? So that's too big of a question for me to answer, just because there are many things that need to be done. But I recently did an endocrine health class. I've done a couple hormonal classes that would go into more depth. I need like an hour for that talk. Let's see, what's the best thing to do to get ready for transfer? A lot of stuff for getting ready for transfers kind of need to be done in preparation, not when you're already in it. So just eating as healthy as you can, taking care of yourself, resting. Are 2 large Earl Grey teas harmful for fertility? It's only caffeine to have in a day. There's bigger things I'd be concerned about. I mean, caffeine, if you have excess estrogen or you've had, some specific things, cutting out caffeine a lot of times can be helpful for some people, but that's not like the first thing to consider. I'd consider more important is the nutrient intake that you are having, that you're eating healthy, all of those things. Okay. All right. I'll get back to those questions. I'll kind of switch platforms here. How do you wean off maca once you find out you're pregnant? You just stop eating it. You don't have to really wean off maca. Can you exercise normally when trying to conceive? Generally, yes. Majority of women can normal exercise, not obviously someone who's doing some type of extreme marathoning or triathlon or those types of things. But normal exercise is just really healthy for you in general. I saw your class on Wednesday and I'm waiting for my cycle to start. Awesome. Yeah. So the fertility cleanse is only found on my website. You'll have to reach out so I can get you set up with those other cleanses we talked about during class. Is it possible for someone to get pregnant during her fertile period and not meeting her partner in her ovulation period? No. Sperm can only live in the body for a very short amount of time. So your partner would need to be around, and you guys would need to be active around your fertile times in order to get pregnant. What is my take on COVID vaccine if you're trying to have a baby? I get asked this a lot, and in all honesty, I do not have enough information or knowledge in order to make any type of this is my thoughts on it. This is what I think you should do that would influence other people. This is an area that I have very little knowledge in. So you're just there's such limited information that, there's so many different sides to it that I know there's some doctors that are speaking a lot about it. So maybe searching them out, ones that are talking a lot about it on their platform because they've taken the time to do the research. They know a lot about how they work, the body works, and all of those things. So I know that's not the best answer, but I don't have a strong enough opinion or enough knowledge to give a knowledgeable opinion on it. Is it bad to take your basal body temperature at slightly different times in the morning? Some days I wake up earlier than other days. Yes, so that can definitely alter what your chart does. So you want to take your temperature at the same time every day so that you have that consistency, because as the further into the day you go, so say some days you sleep in, you're getting warmer and warmer. So for those of you who have a lot of problems being consistent with temperature taking, there's tools out there you can purchase and wear that will take your information, like your temperature, not your information, they'll take your temperature and they'll send it to an app. So it doesn't matter if you get lots of sleep disturbances or anything like that. They also help you pinpoint ovulation and different things like that. So you can search, there's a lot of different products out there like that right now. I'm charting and I have high temps above 98. I'm 12 days post ovulation. I had a negative test today. Could you not be pregnant even if you have high temps? I thought high temps meant you could be pregnant. So it's not necessarily the actual temperature. It's more that the temperature after ovulation, when progesterone rises, it increases. And when your period's going to begin, you actually will see a drop, and then your period is going to come soon. If you're pregnant, it will just continue to rise and rise and rise and rise and rise, and it will never drop. For frozen protocol, what you think is better? I'm not the person to ask. I'm not an IVF specialist or anything. Every clinic's going to have a different statistic or opinion on what they're good at. I am not the person to ask that. Okay. Yeah. So if you guys have any questions, you can ask them in the comments. I have a bunch more that came in over here. Okay. Does coffee interrupt fertility? So if you are someone who drinks a lot of coffee, it possibly could. There are studies with links between coffee and estrogen levels. So also if you're someone who has recurrent miscarriages, sorry, my alarm went off. If you're someone who has recurrent miscarriages, definitely consider quitting caffeine. If you're someone with hormonal issues or adrenal issues, which can then lead to hormonal issues, definitely reconsider the coffee. It's not something that everyone has to cut out right away. It's kind of on a unique basis depending on what's happening with you, but those would be reasons to not drink caffeine. How can I increase my cervical mucus? I never produce very much. So there are a couple different ways of doing that, but first, understanding how cervical mucus is produced in the body. It's definitely a function of estrogen production. So yes, we could take some supplements and things to help with cervical mucus, but the bigger question is, why is your estrogen low, or where is the hormonal imbalance that's happening? Because that hormonal imbalance is not only going to be affecting your cervical mucus, but it could be affecting your follicles maturing. It could be affecting the timing that you do ovulate. So yes, we could do some things to increase cervical mucus. There are definitely supplements for that, but we got to look at the bigger picture because there could be something even more happening that would affect ovulation. Is it normal to feel bloated and upset during ovulation? I don't know. I don't think so. That's usually right before the period that you have like these mood swings, or you have kind of that bloated, heavy feeling. I'm not saying like it's bad, but it's just more generally it's that part of the cycle that I see. Is it possible to get a positive OPK and feel ovulation pains and not actually ovulate? Yes. There's no way of knowing for sure if you've ovulated. Yes, your cervical mucus is a good way to tell your fertile time. Yes, a lot of women feel sensations and things during ovulation time, but to know for sure, especially if you're taking lots of steps to try to conceive, you should just be fertility charting. Because what if we do all these things to help support you, but we're not even focusing on ovulation, just assuming you are ovulating and you're not? Does butterfly PET have any negative effects on cycle? I don't know. I don't work with that herb a lot. I do like to use it to make things pretty because it makes things purple, but I don't have a ton of experience with that herb. This cycle, I had some spotting before ovulation for the first time ever. Any reasons for this? I wouldn't really worry about something that happens once. If it keeps on happening, it becomes a pattern, then that's something to work at. But once in a while, cycles can be off. Kind of different things can happen within one cycle. Sometimes stress can affect a cycle, but I wouldn't worry too much about it unless it happens like the next cycle. And then we can look at that. What are herbal teas that are safe for pregnancy? There are so many to list here. So herbal teas safe for pregnancy. What you mainly want to avoid are going to be teas that would stimulate the uterus, that would be very cleansing, very strong herbal, acting. Anything for pregnancy is basically going to be nutritive. So you want to do very mellow nutritive herbs. I would just go with a pregnancy company, like Mother Love, or, there's a couple different companies out there, and just kind of stick to those teas. Okay. What kind of sugar should you eliminate? Okay, I'm going to do just a couple more here. What kind of sugar should you eliminate to help with inflammation in the body? So any type of added sugar that's going to be white processed sugars, anything with concentrated sugar. So like sodas and donuts and cakes and, those kinds of things that will cause blood sugar spikes. That would be a good place to start. Okay. How do you get your hormone balance so your period can be regular again? That is a very big question. There's a lot of different reasons that can be happening. It's not something that I can just explain without asking more questions. The nutrient deficiencies, hormone imbalances, medications. There's a lot of different reasons that someone could have a period that's off, perimenopause. So I'd have to ask more questions to be able to know what direction to suggest for that. Can you continue liver teas while pregnant? I wouldn't really do anything to stimulate the liver during pregnancy. I would just do nutritive stuff. What is the best fertility smoothie? I love to have fertility smoothies that have superfoods in them, protein, some type of greens powder, fresh greens, protein powder. I don't know if I said that. And then lots of varieties of fruit, always have berries. And you don't have to do frozen smoothies. You can have fresh berry smoothies. So if you don't like cold smoothies, just use room temperature fruit. Okay, so last one. I'm experiencing PCOS. What is the best eating plan? I've been trying for 7 years. So there's 2 videos to check out on my YouTube. That's a good place to start for PCOS. They talk about how diet has an effect on PCOS and why it's important. And we talk a lot about insulin resistance and what's happening in the body that causes the hormonal imbalances and how diet has an effect on that. So watching those 2 videos is going to help you to understand why you would be eating that way, because then it makes it a lot more motivating and beneficial when you do have to take the steps, the dietary changes. So look for those videos on YouTube, Selma. You could just go to Natural Fertility Info on YouTube and type in PCOS and you'll see all my PCOS videos. All right, thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful Friday and I'll see you again